So, spring 1998. I am 17 years old, and I am approximately 6 months into my first formal employment. That is to say, a job that is not cutting lawns or walking dogs or shoveling snow. It is at the famous Players movie theater in Bayview Village, which is what would politely be referred to as a second-tier shopping mall in suburban Toronto. I scoop popcorn and I take tickets. The woman who hired me is named Mrs. P. Mrs. P has been working for this theater chain, or rather, a theater chain that was bought by a theater chain that was bought by this theater chain for 50 years. She is 65 years old. She started when she was 15. She is short and round and has a voice like she eats glass. Even in the late 90s, smoking inside a movie theater office was frowned upon and, in fact, illegal. Mrs. P did not care. Our regional manager, Roman, who was only 28, was terrified of her and would not tell her to not smoke. Mrs. P had a philosophy on running a movie theater that was they basically run themselves. So roughly 6 months after I was hired, Mrs. P retires, and she is replaced by Corey. Corey is 24 and has recently graduated from Seneca College's business program. Something he keeps telling us. Corey, and I don't know how else to say this, is an asshole. Corey has decided that this movie theater needs to be shaken up and turned around, and he is the man to do it. Within his second week, Corey has given me a hard time about my newly pierced labret and told Roman about it. Roman, who came out and said, "I heard you got your face pierced." Oh, fucking gnarly, man. Corey has made me go up on ladders to change light bulbs, something I am very afraid of, and then shaken the ladder. Corey also refuses to let anybody go home until all the cash has been counted. Under the Mrs. P regime, it was assumed that no one would try and fuck around with the cash because if you did, she would kill you. Corey does not have that level of authority or intimidation. It's a Thursday night. My father is waiting to pick me up after work. I have a French test in the morning. Corey is counting the cash in the office. He leaves to go to the bathroom, comes back, and realizes he has locked his keys in the office. Now, a rational person would say, okay, rules make sense, but, everything in context. Send us home and count the cash after he got the door unlocked. Corey has decided we are all waiting for a locksmith. My dad is outside. He does not like to be kept waiting. I have a French test in the morning. I need to get at least a B on that. So I say, I'm going to break it. And he says, what? So, office, wall, break room, couch. With me so far? Nod. No, everyone who I can see, please nod if you can picture this. Okay. Above me is that asbestos particle board track ceiling. Easy. I can do this. I'm much thinner and lighter than I am now. So I say, okay, I hop up on the couch. I push the ceiling aside. I hoist myself up on a pipe. I'm balancing on the pipe. I've got this. Oh my God. I'm just going to push this aside, lower myself down, basically mission impossible myself into the office. Corey will finish counting. I can go outside. My dad will drive me home, and I can start studying my verbs. So I'm there. I'm balanced. I'm ready to go. But I look and I push, and I realize that the wall is a bit thicker than I realized. So I have to reach and push over the tile that's a bit further, and I lose my balance. And I go back first, my whole body at once, through the ceiling, and I land directly on top of the safe. Starfish. My newly pierced labret has been pushed up inside my lip. Track ceiling is everywhere. And I look around, it looks like a bomb has gone off. There is an unfathomable amount of dust. There is broken asbestos tile anywhere. There are two fluorescent lighting units that have been completely taken down. There is glass everywhere. There are sparking wires. I'm covered in dust. I pick myself up. I open the door. I'm bleeding from my hands and arms. I spit blood on the floor and I say, I'm in! Everyone looks stunned. Corey sticks his head inside the office and turns white. He looks at me, covered in dust, bleeding from the hands and arms and mouth, and says, so can we not tell anyone about this? And I have a brainstorm, and I say, well, what's it worth to you? And he says, $100. And I think about this, and I think, $100 can get me all of these things. A dime bag of weed, generic skateboard wheels, the new Rancid CD, and a 6-pack of Labatt Wildcat. Americans in the room, picture Mickey's big mouth. This is, in Canada, that's called Labatt Wildcat. Okay. And I say, yeah, $100. I take my $100, covered in dust, still bleeding. I get into my father's car. My father looks at me and says, what happened? And I say, Dad, don't worry about it. I have a French test tomorrow. He drives me home. I shower. The next morning, I get up. I go to school. I take my French test. I get an A-. And while I'm smoking between periods, I tell my friend Neil the story. And I say, and he gave me $100. And Neil looks at me and he says, $100? He's like, you could have sued them. You could have got like $10,000. That could have paid for university. He's like, $100? What's wrong with you? And I explain about the weed and the Labatt Wildcat and the skateboard wheels. And he says, Jesus, man, you got to think bigger. Anyway, so Corey actually wound up giving me something far more valuable than $100, which is perspective. Every time I'm negotiating or planning, I think, am I falling through a ceiling for $100 right now? And so that's how I live my life. Never fall through a ceiling for less than $150. And